You know, I tried to write down some or most of Big Picture and recording this off the cuff into the camera while I was talking for one of the review recordings, and it just ended up being something that I was just feeling more live action-y, I guess, more so than writing, because just too stupid. But I was talking to someone else. There's going to be some edits here because I'm trailing off because it's just so dumb. And there'll probably be some recorded parts in just to get things with some more clarity dropped in here.
Yes, it did in fact turn out that we had to do that, and it'll pretty much go like this, so here's to that. Yeah, just the regular format, still working things out, but it's a couple weeks to October, so cut us some slack, huh?
And when I talk about wanting to not only talk about stupid fan shit on this show, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. So, did you hear about this, people are mad because they thought Splinter was gay briefly in the new Ninja Turtles movie? He's not, by the way. He's not. Not that that's a problem. But, yeah. So if you missed this because it was dumb enough to go away, by the way, this is what happened. I love, by the way, the newest Ninja Turtles movie, the Mutant Mayhem. I think it was fucking awesome. It's great. The kids playing the four leads are great. The new April's great. The movie, it just rules. Great voice cast. Great job from the director. Everybody's great. So what happened here?
The controversy in question concerns a deliberately overstated reaction to a misunderstanding surrounding the characterization of Master Splinter in the new movie, who's voiced by Jackie Chan and presented in somewhat of a departure from previous incarnations of the character. Played more for comedy and at least so far making no reference to the Foot Clan, Hamato Yoshi, or any prior relationship to Orokosaki the Shredder. Instead, his function in the plot is as an overprotective father figure whose distrust of the surface world and humans is what motivates the Turtles to originally operate in secret and only be partly aware of their own origins and place in the world.
I need a new pair of these. Yeah, so Splinter actually not my favorite part of this movie. It works for the story that they're trying to tell. They're not doing like the wizened martial arts master in this one, and you know the ancient ninja clan battle stuff was always like something that I really liked about the franchise, but it wouldn't have fit here for what they're doing. It's more about the kids with a relationship with a father who is sort of a dumb fuck, but he's trying his best. He's got skills, you know, he's a fighting guy. They got Jackie Chan doing the voice, but a bit of an ass in an overprotective sense, and that's the story they're trying to tell. Fine. So it works here. Better than the one in the Michael Bay movies. Definitely.
Apart from the overprotective dad learning to loosen up and maybe humans aren't so bad after all storyline at the center of his character arc, Splinter's B-story for a comic relief in the film is his lack of success at meeting women on dating apps because there don't seem to be any mutant women period, let alone mutant rats, likely a joint reference to the lack of female characters in the original toy line from which the expanded roster of mutants in the movie has been drawn, and also a setup for the reveal that characters like Leatherhead and Wingnut are here being voiced by female performers.
Part of the movie is that they've got all the other mutant characters from the Playmates line, a bunch of them, like Mondo Gecko is in the movie, that kind of thing. So there's a reimagined version of Scumbug in the movie, moderately obscure character. And in the movie, Scumbug, who is just this, you know, insect mutant creature that just talks with, you know, blah, 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 blah. All of the characters are designed to be gross and disgusting mutant creatures that look like, you know, sketchbook graffiti art, and it's a great, great looking movie. Part of the gag in the third act is that Scumbug turns out to be a female character, and this ends up being like Splinter's sort of love interest. It's like, it's not even a B plot, it's a C plot. It's a gag that the rat and the gross bug are into each other, and it's gross. It's funny. It's funny that, you know, they're like making out and the kids are going, oh god, no, we don't need to. It's funny. It's a funny bit.
But here's what all the fuss is about. When the individual character posters revealing the giant roster of supporting characters and the all-star voice cast assembled for them were released, someone in marketing decided it'd be funny to give Scumbug's poster a self-credit because there's no voice actor for Scumbug, just funny monster noises. However, said poster, apparently created without seeing the finished film and/or without proper context, went out with the text Scumbug as himself, not herself.
I don't think it's gonna matter.
Oh, it's gonna matter. It's gonna matter.
Now, it seems unlikely that there were that many huge Scumbug fans paying that much attention to the poster or her role in the movie to be confused by the plot turn as it happened, but hypothetically, I guess if you somehow saw this movie specifically because of that poster, and somehow were to pay close enough attention to the action to see Splinter kiss the giant bug, but not close enough to hear the characters repeatedly addressing the giant bug as a female character the whole time before and after, you might have somehow, I guess, assumed this meant the giant mutant interspecies romance was also gay, and therefore in some people's eyes that would be worse somehow?
It's not usual. If there was a law, it would be against it.
So the people who have made it their business to find something to turn into stupid culture war bullshit about everything turned this into a thing.
I saw this tweet by Keemstar the other day saying that they made Splinter gay in the new Teenage Mutant Turtles movie.
When you're 12 unnecessary reboots deep and your well of ideas is drier than a Mass Effect video essay, leaving you with but one recourse. Make 'em gay, fat, brown, or all of the above.
I've come to the conclusion that they've decided to present Splinter in this movie as an LGBT character. A creative decision that I disagree with, since he's never been presented that way in the 40 years that this franchise has existed.
That's how Hollywood is nowadays. You can't be a good character without being gay or having some kind of political identity.
Apparently, at the end of the movie, Splinter enters a relationship with Scumbug and makes out with him.
Early rumors appear to suggest at least one of the turtles has exchanged his pizza craving for cock.
When I reported on this, multiple people were saying that it is a male cockroach. There are posters that say it's a male cockroach.
This is already out of character in and of itself for Master Splinter, who for nearly 40 years has been a father figure, a mentor, a master sensei.
Have you seen any of the Twilight movies?
No, I have not.
Then let me describe them to you shot for shot.
Look at United States of America right now. What is more important to our culture than the Joker? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Even though in the movie, they continually have Jackie Chan as Splinter while this is going on saying, "That ladybug is very hot, I'm into her," voice. In this, exaggerated version of his own voice that Jackie Chan is doing as Splinter. Clearly, this is a female insect. Or whatever Scumbug is supposed to have been. Hey, wait, are they implying that Splinter is gay, or is he non-binary, or... And first off, not a huge thing that if they were, that would be more interesting than a lot of other things they do with this character in this movie. I do a lot of, talking about meaningless shit because it's clickable is pretty much the definition of this whole job on pop culture YouTube. Turning topics that do not matter into discussions that sort of matter to people is the definition of this job, but clearly this was just miscommunication turned into a thing, and people turned this into weeks of content because these were the same guys who basically didn't get real traction off of the fact that they made the new version of April O'Neil a younger, not traditionally tall, skinny, hot chick, and they made her black. Guys were very sure, all the usual suspect assholes, were very sure that this was something that they could turn into months of content, and they did for their audience, but it didn't track for everything else.
First red flag was what they did with April O'Neil's look. Now, it's not because she's black.
This is April O'Neil, by the way, in case anyone forgot. Black, fat April O'Neil.
It's the fact that they made her look absolutely ugly. Anybody defending this could not honestly tell me that this is not a far cry from other iterations that we've seen of April O'Neil.
Yes, April O'Neil is, in fact, race-swapped and fat in this.
You changed her race because Nickelodeon's racial and sexual quotas mean everything has to look like a fucking McDonald's commercial.
Honestly, if she was just in better shape, I don't think I would mind it as much. She's just not at all appealing to look at. And, when you look at what we had with this character.
She's fat, gross looking, she looks like a lunch lady.
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line.
You can excuse racism.
So I know that there's gonna be some of you cringe little wokies out there.
Believe me, I understand to an extent, the amount of the toll on the soul taken by the minutia meaninglessness of, being a professional trivium payer attention to her. But I don't understand wanting to be hateful and gross on top of it. And I really don't know if it's worse if you're pretending to be that obsessive about stuff that's that dumb, or if you're doing it for real. I don't know if it's worse to be a fake nerd bigot or to be a real one.
putting aside the fact that it's all kinds of fucked up for adult men to be this level of weird about whether or not a cartoon character who's supposed to be 16 years old is quote-unquote sexy enough. Look guys, I'm not gonna lie to you and pretend that the 80s cartoon's absurdly stacked April O'Neil didn't likely do a real number on my psyche like a lot of other guys my age, but come on now. How can living as the sort of person who gets mad because they decided to draw a cartoon character differently not be an exhausting way to live, especially if your specific complaint involves this cartoon child not being sexually attractive enough to you?
Nope, nope, nope. Stop talking, go to jail.
More to the point, it's deliberately overlooking the actual plot and characterizations in this movie, where the fact that this April is a very average, awkward, self-conscious teenager is part of her story and motivation, and the fact that in spite of this, one of the turtles immediately gets an over-the-top teenage boy crush on her that's played wholesome but also for humor in context would hit completely differently if she were presented as being used to or expecting that kind of attention, as like a Mary Jane in Spider-Man sort of character. I mean, good lord guys, I know the pandemic broke all of our brains, but don't you remember how basic story structure works? Oh, and speaking of which, by the way, roll that beautiful PSA footage. The COVID pandemic isn't over. The COVID pandemic is still worse than you think it is. The COVID pandemic was always worse than you thought it was, and it's not going to go away, nor was it ever going to go away by wishing really hard that it would, pretending that it was never there in the first place, or through any means other than medical research that was always going to take longer than you or I likely wanted it to, because that's how science works. The reason you might think that any of this is not the case is because the world around us has been asked to go back to normal, and most of us have been varying degrees compliant. Not because what any of I just said is untrue, but because we exist under capitalism, mass media is very effective, and it worked on you. The fact is, there was a global plague, exacerbated by global institutional incompetence and uncaring that, in addition to killing and disabling millions of us, effectively froze entire sectors of global economic commerce, specifically in media and consumer goods, for about 2.5 years. And because the wealthy 1% of individuals and political institutions worldwide who lost out in that period financially decided that was quite long enough for their losses to continue, the rest of us have been all asked to not only go back to normal, but also to forget as quickly as possible that those 2.5 years of global plague ever happened in the first place, or at least that it wasn't really that bad, which is why most corporate entertainment media and entertainment media reporting that merely repeats talking points either without examination or with an agenda of its own never mentions it when talking about studio profits, corporate profits in general, box office, streaming numbers, TV ratings, company consolidation, audience tracking, wages, unions, spending, buying, all things directly related to and affected by the pandemic from the start and still affected in ongoing ways. Therefore, in the same way that you'd be very skeptical of any historical presentation about significant events of the mid-1940s that failed to mention, oh, and also World War II was happening, so that probably affected this in some respect, you should have that same skepticism and apply it to anyone talking about anything happening in business, politics, or culture that does not make, oh, also, that global viral plague probably contributed to this too, a central part of their thesis, because it is central to everything, whether we want it to be or not, for the foreseeable future. Thank you for listening, and stay safe.
The thing that hacks me off with the Ninja Turtles business is that it's so easy to know that that was bullshit. Because if it wasn't bullshit, it wouldn't exist in the first place. And the way that you know is, unfortunately, if the filmmakers had decided, hey, you know what, we're going to make Splinter a gay guy. Why not? It's 2023. Why not? That's an up forward thing. There'd be nothing wrong with that, as far as I'm concerned. But if they did, they wouldn't have gotten Jackie Chan to voice him, because Jackie Chan is kind of an asshole about gay stuff. If you didn't know that. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. It's why his kid doesn't talk to him. It really sucks. In fact, it's sort of one of the unfortunate things about this otherwise very good movie is that two of the big used to be cool voice actors in it are kind of late revealed themselves to be kind of shitty people, and that sucks. Not taking anything away from Ice as a rapper or Jackie Chan as a stuntman, but not great guys. That happens. But that's how you'd know. That's how you'd know that this was fake bullshit. And they couldn't even check that. They could have gotten months of content out of celebrating that this famous guy shares their asshole beliefs, but instead they wanted to lie about obviously fake bullshit. Aren't you tired?
That's not even a joke. I'm asking sincerely, at least in part for my own health at this point. I do this for a living, and I'm starting to have real difficulty staying genuinely invested in things I actually enjoy and that make me happy for the level of effort it takes. So I don't understand and honestly find it legitimately upsetting when people have the ability to dump so much time and effort into being mad about stuff that just doesn't matter. What did you ever like about any of this when you did to hate it so much now, and why stay invested and angry when you could just do anything else? There are people who don't stay in relationships they don't like, with spouses they don't love, or fuck in religions they don't believe in anymore, for as long as people like this who claim they used to be the world's biggest fans until Marvel or DC or Star Wars or video games, whatever, got ruined forever, still stick around staying obsessed with them instead of just doing other things. And look, I won't front about this. I've been doing this work long enough that if you go back, you'll probably find instances from years ago where I also acted like a dumb, possessive, creepy asshole nerd about something in pop culture that now makes this sound contradictory because, well, it is. I'm contradicting that because it would have been years ago. I grew up and changed my mind because it's an awful, soul-draining mental state to live in, and I'm tired of it. How can you not be?
I don't understand actively trying not only to spoil other people's good time. Unfortunately, I understand the instinct that makes someone be a bully. I don't like it, but I understand how the failed, broken mind of an asshole works. I don't understand why you want to fuck it up for yourself. And if I ever did, I'm glad that part of me doesn't exist anymore to the point that even I can't recognize it.
Look, I'm not trying to be on the let people enjoy things, criticism is bad kick. That wouldn't make much sense. I'm a film critic. Idiotic controversies like woke Hollywood made Splinter gay or woke Hollywood did whatever. You know, pretty much anything that anyone starts off with the made-up, non-existent concept of wokeness are fringe bullshit that gets amplified by grifters, con artists, and political ghouls with an agenda who, if we're being honest, very likely no longer care, if they ever cared at all, about the things they claim to be fans of as a means to turn more general, angry fan energy into a tool they can manipulate for barely related political organizing. Basically, they're bullies and they use people. The people they target and the people they rile up to do their targeting for them.
You know, it's good that the creators of these things take them seriously and work hard on them. And it's good to take them seriously to the point where you are concerned about the quality of writing, directing, and that you don't just want them to be empty, soulless corporate product, because that's the compromise that we make with enjoying things that are ultimately products of consumer capitalism, is that we at least want them to be decently made, worthwhile art or entertainment being produced. But when you lose sight of the fact that these are, to a very large extent, fairy tales and playthings, and that they're meant to be fun. You know, even fucking Pixar, who very much live and die by the ideal of being incredibly self-serious nerds, taking their kids' movies deeply self-seriously, understood when making Toy Story 2, the guy who was going to put the toys in a box behind glass where they couldn't be played with and were just going to be museum pieces for adults to gawk at, was the bad guy. Why do you want to be the bad guy? I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.